Welcome to the CTOX podcast. This is the place to be if you're a technology leader navigating the fractional CTO landscape. I'm Marissa Brassfield, joined by Lior Weinstein, the visionary behind CTOX.
Here, we cut through the noise to deliver actionable insights for CTOs at every stage, whether you're looking at your first five-figure client or actively building systems to scale.
That's right. You'll learn principles, not just tactics, to transform your technical expertise into a thriving fractional practice. Let's dig in. Welcome back to the CTOX podcast. Tools can help, systems can scale, AI can save time. But none of these things can do your push-ups or eat your vegetables for you. In today's episode, we unpack why some of the most important parts of running your fractional CTO business can't be outsourced, automated, or skipped, and why that's actually a good thing. Hey, Lior.
Hey, this is an amazing conversation because, uh, you know, we're going to dispel some of the magic that people think that AI can do right now. And it's right now. Maybe next year we'll record another episode about this. But for now, probably for the rest of 2025, we have some good insights.
Yeah. So as of this moment,
Yeah.
let's start with the metaphor. What are the vegetables in a fractional CTO business? And why do so many leaders think and hope that AI can eat them?
It's the hard work, it's the hard work, and which is really the work that requires your discernment. And discernment comes in different parts of the process. Most people that come into the program, their initial challenge is marketing and acquisition, and then it rolls into sales. So we kind of say, you're not going to get any contracts without any contact. So the first thing is to find, people are paying you money. You're not like servicing a stock, right? You're servicing humans. And then you need to close and kind of figure that out, how to build enough trust so they sign a contract, and then you need to serve and keep building trust so they give you another contract and referrals. And if you're in the program, it means you have a lot of experience and you understand something. You understand your stack, your domain, your client profile, whatever that is, and it's something that you build just hard facts, like you have anecdotes of knowledge, like specific units, but you mostly have really great intuition. And that's why when you hear about a problem, you can like rapidly think about a solution, and not just the solution, but how to weave it in, like how to make it work and execute on it. And you can do it very fast and you don't have to think your way, to it. You can actually just kind of know it because of the built-in intuition. And in our worlds, when you first start, it could be discernment on a LinkedIn profile. Like you look at the LinkedIn profile and you have your intuition. Is this a relevant prospect? Should I speak with them? Right? Because you look at their resume, their work history, maybe their post or language or description, and you kind of understand, yeah, this person I should speak with them or not. And an AI just absolutely doesn't know how to do that relative to you, right? To what you understand about your market. Could be discernment on the message, right? You send a message. There's a big difference sending a message to a CEO that's 30 and a CEO that's 60 and a CEO that happened to work in two companies you also worked in, and or competitors of companies you also worked in, and I can't know any of that. And maybe you remember, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that this thing happened, this big thing in the industry, and that you can actually build an emotional connection around. So that discernment on like what's going to unlock the relationship and what's going to bridge trust and build trust. And of course, once you're inside a live conversation, knowing what to say and how to react, so you get a yes and you move the conversation forward to wherever it needs to go. All of these points, until you understand what your growth system is, and that is to say, what is your ideal customer profile, client profile? What do you need to say in order to get a meeting? What do you need to say in order to get a contract? Until those things are solid, it's very scientific. You need iteration, which means you need to hypothesize, test, and then analyze. You need to look at it and say, okay, I tried something. Here's the real world feedback, and I'm gonna reason another hypothesis. Right? I have another idea. AI can help in each of these things, but in each of them, there's gonna be this chokehold, this choke point where you're going to need discernment that only you can give because it's going to be your client. You're going to service them. The AI is not going to service. So putting in the work on all these things and understanding that, yeah, AI can certainly accelerate and we recommend it all the time, but it cannot replace.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of a brain breaker for some of our engineers who are in the program and certainly who may be listening to this episode because the inclination is to find the exact path, the step by step, paint by numbers painting and then create the perfect system from the get go, which inherently breaks down in marketing, especially when there perhaps isn't a robust network to tap into or a proven pre existing method to manufacture sales with strange or conversations with strangers. Um, how do you how do you see the ideas coexisting? One being, experimenting your way there, and then also building a system that supports you so that you're not senselessly doing manual work.
I think it's really that. It's identifying, it's kind of like when you want to write an email, right? That's an easy one. A lot of people can understand. And you're about to send it to 100 people, and all of them is like, hi, first name. So, what you would do as a technology oriented human, you would write the email, you would put like a first name variable, and you would use a Google Sheet or some other trick with whatever you use. And you would write a script that would copy the base email, replace first name with a name from a spreadsheet, and have the computer do the sending as opposed to you going to the sheet, copy pasting, copy this, going to another window, pasting back, hitting send, right? That's a very easy example of something you should 100% automate. But writing that first email, no. Write the email because you have the intuition of what's going to get a response, what's going to build a connection. Another thing is understanding that um, eh, if you're in this business of building or expanding your fractional CTO practice, it's a sales and marketing problem way more than it is a fulfillment problem. Marketing is about this ardent activities of getting a response from the market. Okay, so going, let's say there was a huge kind of Greek style market. You went down to the market, you met people, and you interacting with them, and you try to sell stuff or interact and so on, and get some response. And we just do that in the digital space. But sales is once somebody does come in and engage with you, is how do you get that emotional trust and create emotional safety in them saying, yes, I choose you, but come and solve my problem. And they don't know if they can actually solve your problem. You can actually solve the problem. You might think you can solve the problem, and you might be right 9 out of 10 times, but they have no idea. If they knew how to solve the problem, they would have already solved it. And it's very rare for us to meet CEOs that are technical as well. It happens sometimes, but it's certainly the exception, not the rule. So they don't know. So they're using other signals, and those signals for trust, signals for confidence, for them to make the leap because they're not in your shoes, they're not in your mind. They don't see what you see. You need to figure out how to make them see it and how to feel good about it, or at least good enough to sign a check and take the leap, so you work with them. And because of that, people leave people and people hire people. They don't um, hire marketing letters. They don't buy presentations. These are just tools. And AI is really great at creating a lot of marketing letters, creating a lot of presentations, make it super customized, specific, beautiful, all these attributes of good collateral. But end of the day, they're buying you and you are not AI. And because of that, AI can't do this for you. It can get you there quicker and it should, and we recommend it, but it can't do it for you. So if you're waiting for AI to run your fractional business for you, you're already falling behind because people are not buying AI. They're buying you, a human. And as soon as they buy AI, you're not relevant anymore. It's just a reality. The good thing in our particular space, fractional technology leaders are just in more and more and more demand because of AI tools, because a smart, leveraged decision maker can get a lot more done than for the business than they could ever, in any other point of history.
Yeah, great points. And we know a lot of folks who have gone the salesless route where strong marketing is bringing clients right to them. even for those folks, what still has to be theirs, even if AI is doing some of the heavy lifting?
It's, when you get clients, first of all, you want right fit clients. Very important, because part of we talked about in other episodes about the fact that this is also like a lifestyle decision. It's not just a money decision, right? If some clients you just don't want, meaning they might have a problem that you can solve. They might even afford the budget that you want to put up, but they're going to drain your time. They're going to drain your energy. You're really not going to like your life if you service them. Having that, again, that discernment of which humans do you want to be a hero to, and who do you want to serve, and how do you want to serve them, is super important. So I don't think, like, I would never let somebody just book a paid meeting with me uh, without, like, unless like a short, I don't know, 15 minutes, something like that. But I would never give somebody hours just because they paid money. Because if it's going to be a bad few hours, it's going to dent my day or my week, if not longer, potentially. So first of all, not don't let marketing do sales for you, even if you let AI do marketing. So make sure you connect with the person and you make the decision if you want to collaborate with them. Because the best clients are long-term clients. Like, it's not a good result in our universe, at least, if you just have this revolving door of prospecting clients and they come in for a single workshop, or they come in for 2, 3 months and then they leave, and then you need to do it all over again. Ideally, you build enough reputation and relationships that last a very long time because you know how to deliver, and you made a good decision on the buying side, like when the relationship started, and not, in the middle, kind of trying to course correct it. So certainly, don't let AI make the decision for you, and don't let the AI close for you. But certainly let AI, publish content and help you customize an experience, because you can make it more specific. But that judgment of when the communication finally hits the person is very important. And even for us, like, as a business, we struggle with this. This is an ongoing process, right? Like, even when we use AI tools to make our job easier, we're like, oh, this doesn't quite sound like me, like you, right? Like us. And we want it to. And then we look and we're like, it doesn't quite sound, so let's not do it. Let's change, let's tweak. Because the human connection is so important when you're trying to create long term relationships. And
So
AI can
true.
get you there, but not keep you there.
Yeah, absolutely. There was an experience recently where someone was very seriously evaluating CTOX to be a part of the program, but decided not to move forward based on what turned out to be a misinformed use of AI. Um, can you tell that story and what that moment reveals about the danger, about when we outsource our judgment and our discernment?
Yeah, that was super interesting. So I think it was like a weekend. I got an email from one of our strategy advisors, and she emailed the leadership and the head of sales. And the email kind of said, "Hey, I did a background check on something like that, like a background check on the founders in the company that decided to cancel the meeting." And she was confused. So she asked him something, and she asked us, "Do you know what he's talking about?" And I saw the name, and I went to LinkedIn, and I saw that he posted the same day or the day prior that, AI just saved him $25,000. So, I mean, I'm glad that he thought we were worth that much. We should probably up the price. And maybe if you're hearing
Change
this,
the
maybe this is
price.
our price now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before it goes up, please join. And he said that he ran like a due diligence on a company and its founder because he had a sense or some kind of a hunch. And it said, and he used Gemini. He said he used Gemini. And it said in his post that the founders were like pending criminal charges. And I'm like, oh, well. So sure enough, I opened Gemini, which as of this date, I don't ever recommend, but that's a nice little banter we have in our accelerator between which LLMs we support and which we don't. And I open Gemini and I come at it, hey, I'm thinking about joining this program, CTOX. Can you run me some due diligence and something like that about the founders and the company? Uh, and I don't remember if I used the word concern or something like that, but a very basic prompt, nothing too sophisticated. And it came back with this concerning response of saying, yes, Lior Weinstein was the CEO of Poplar Homes. And it was not, just, for the record, for the recorded record. And and sure enough, it says like Poplar Homes had this like BBB rating and a negative BBB rating, and the founders, sure enough, were, I guess, um, pending criminal charges or lawsuits, whatever it is. Now, I was not. I was the CEO of a company called Poplar Technologies, which certainly never had any other problems. It actually was, although we didn't exit, it was a pretty good venture when we ran it. But it conflated, right? It used the word poplar, found another poplar, made it look like that, and just created a whole mix of bad messages and bad data. Now, Gemini in good form does actually give links, so he could have just clicked on the links, but no, he didn't. He just took it for face value, and he outsourced his judgment to AI, and we both lost. We both lost. Like, we lost a he looked like a good prospect, right, in terms of history, and obviously he wants to do it. That's why he booked a meeting with us in the first place. So, we lost a good prospect. He lost a good program because we could have helped him. We could have given him a lot of shortcuts. That said, it also, for a CTO to not fully understand, at this level how LLMs work, there's a technical, a little bit of an issue there that we probably would have worked through. LLMs are not fact machines. They're reasoning machines. And for people at senior technology leadership to not understand that, and not understand how LLMs, the difference between technology and product, and how these things should be used, and in what context they should be used. If you're writing poems for your wife, that's excellent. If you're making, tens of thousands of dollars of business decisions, which really for him, it's a six-figure decision because that's what people in the program make, right? And so that's what he lost. He didn't save the money. He lost the opportunity. Right? He lost the opportunity. I would have said, by the way, even if that was true, he should have still taken a meeting and like figure out, because we have, at this point we have pretty good amount of trust and history and social proof. Like, there's a lot, even if I was an ex-convict, like, you should probably take the meeting and kind of figure out what's it about, as opposed to making this kind of judgment. Uh, Luckily for all of us, that was not the case, and it was really a mess up. We didn't bother correcting it, by the way. Like, we're not pushy. We really wanted opted in kind of mindset in the program, and um, so it was okay, but great lesson for us, and we got a good story that we can share.
And we keep reusing it because it's such a great story. I think I've told it 6 or 7 times outside of our conversations, just because.
Exactly. It's a good dinner story. Hey,
Yeah.
this happened, right? So it's something to talk about.
Yeah.
But
It is
outsourcing your judgment without understanding the difference between fact and logic, um, and fact patterns and trust, is not a great idea of AI. Same thing goes from going to AI and say, write me a 30 post LinkedIn plan and make it awesome, and then just posting it by copy pasting. Again, no discernment, no judgment. Don't do it.
Yeah, and more often we're seeing people outsource some of these hard decisions when it comes to strategic moves to AI, whether it's Google's AI or Anthropic's AI or OpenAI's or Microsoft. Like, they all have their AIs, but just the idea of these are tools for our business, but they are not replacements for our decisions as leaders. It's interesting. I was just last week, we had our CTOs give a presentation to our sister company, CMOX, about what's working now. And one of our CTOXs was talking about LLMs in healthcare and how hallucination is starting to show up. And if these healthcare leaders are just taking the LLM outputs as fact, as you know, uh, pulling up just the responses without that second order of discernment, of fact checking, of um, uh, just seeing what it is and whether it's actually right. Um, I mean, they're catastrophic, insanely expensive mistakes, not just from a patient standpoint, but from a reputation standpoint, legal, especially if you're operating in regulated industries. It's just, anyway, it's more of a commentary on the state of society now than anything else. But it does bear repeating that, these some of these decisions must stay human only.
It's, here's the reality. One bad AI call can cost you a client, a contract, or your entire credibility. I'm a big proponent of AI. I talk about this. I'm an AI optimist, but I'm very reasonable about it and understanding like what part of life to put at stake and to leverage with it, and what part to not, because now, especially if you're building a professional service business, people are buying you. And taking taking the risk with your emotional resonance with your clients, with your market, for some AI tools because you're just afraid to spend some time, or you just don't like marketing, don't like sales, whatever it is, story it is you're telling yourself. And we work a lot on that in the program, just reframing what those things sound and act like so they feel different and you can connect to them more. On sales, for example, we use this frame. I'm not selling, I'm making friends.
Yeah.
Very different. Very different. It's a very different mindset to come in, and which means you're reacting to it differently, and and the other person is experiencing it differently, just thinking about it that way. And I think that we love the tools and we recommend them and we develop them all the time
Yep.
in the program, but really only between these moments that you don't you don't get to be human. But when you get to be human, go be human and go win
Yeah.
some hearts.
And we talk a lot about like this is the worst the tools will ever be. And if we fast forward a little bit, let's call it, early middle next year, what are the things you'll still have to do yourself in your fractional CTO business, even with the best tools in the world?
Um, I would I would never let AI pitch a proposal. I would never let AI pitch a proposal. And I wouldn't let AI do leadership, right? You can. I mean, the technology is kind of there, right? You can let AI be in a meeting and actually like give feedback in a meeting, even voice feedback and those kind of things. But leadership, which is really your primary value as a fractional CTO, right? It's not your coding, it's not your debugging, and like all these things. Um, but I wouldn't let it, because that's how you build these long-term lifetime connections and reliability and credibility and reputation. And it's so difficult to build credibility and reputation. Like it takes years and it takes a moment to lose it, or a bad AI prompt, apparently, these days. Um, so I would never let that. I would never let AI like be my voice in real time. I would never let, if there's a meeting, if there's a sales proposal, if there's something that represents me in a key decision moment, I would never let AI do that. I would use AI to help me with my script, with my words, for sure, but I would be the one that says them, and I would be the one that tweaks them, because the single moment of tone is humans are we're so sensitive to tone. So the words might be right, but the tone is off. And AI can't clock the squinting that happens on Zoom, or the extra half a second of silence, from the COO that just didn't, quite connect with what was said. And you can, as an experienced executive. So all those moments, I would never let AI replace. I would certainly let AI assist for sure. And yeah, anything that represents me and that like close, like key moments that close the deals, build connection, lead, I would only assist. Anything that preps me for that or helps me follow up on that, AI all day long, right now, without even waiting.
Yeah. How can someone get better at doing the hard human stuff, especially if, as many of our CTOs do, they're tempted to keep kind of hiding behind the technology and the building and the R&Ding. So I often
The-
hear you
the-
say, frameworks won't save you, focus will. How does that apply to sales, delivery, and leadership?
A lot of people come in and they think they need a template. Just give me I just want to copy paste because the template is what gets the response. And certainly, I mean, we have some good templates,
Yeah.
and but they're what we call boilerplates. Why are they boilerplates? You're supposed to take them, customize them, because again, you have that discernment of your market. And when you're first trying to build up energy, focusing the energy, that's so we talked about wealth, right? So when we talk about wealth, we say if you want to build wealth, you need to focus your energy. If you want to preserve wealth, you need to diverse and disperse. That's why when you only need to get wealthy once, and then you need to not screw up to keep that wealth, and you start doing like allocations and all that. But until that, you don't want to allocate because you want to focus and build traction and build atop one another, and that's what focus does. So if you come in and you say, yeah, I'm going to do emails and LinkedIn and ads and website and conferences, your energy is going to run out. You're not going to have enough learning from any single channels. Time is still going to pass because that's the thing with time. It has this weird thing of just moving along. And you're not getting the result, and then frustration comes. And focus is what lets you take a real attempt at a strategy, because if we have a strategy that we talk about, it works. That's why it's there. Like, we don't recommend phantom strategies, but we don't know if it's going to work for your style, for your market, for your ideas. But focus, make sure that you win on time, because you have enough of a critical mass of action and critical mass of insight to let you honestly say this works and this doesn't. And if you diversify too much, even with all the frameworks, even if you have all the shortcuts, like you have the right LinkedIn prospecting message, and you have the right cold email, and you have the right, but you miss on volume. And without enough volume, there's just not enough feedback. And that's also why we recommend people niche. So they don't, maybe they have 30 conversations, but if it's 30 different kinds of companies, it's really 30 conversation that's N1, meaning it's one conversation that happened 30 times because there's no learning from one conversation to another. And that's what focus really gives you. It gives you that coherence and the ability to trust your learning and to actually have learning that you can pass on to the next set of experiments. And without that, you're going to find yourself bobbing, for a fairly long time.
So, for someone listening to this and hoping that their CRM or their AI or their automation tool is going to eat their vegetables and just magically book appointments on their calendar with minimal input, what's the real takeaway for them?
Don't, when I give AI talks, I talk about this thing that you want to have more atoms, less bits. Like, we live in the world of atoms. We're carbon beings. We eat, we're cold, we're hot. We change energy with the world around us, but we communicate through the world of bits. So for those communication, AI is really good shortcut, because it just can compress the bits and manipulate them and produce them. It's really cool. But if you keep hiding behind tools, you'll never become the fractional leader clients actually trust, because they trust you as a human. They don't trust your emails. They trust you. They actually don't care about your emails. That's your problem. They just want the outcome. They might use it as trust signals, and we recommend you do, use AI, polish your stuff, make it, it's like in 20, we're in the mid 2020s. There's no reason. I saw this documentary a few years ago on Netflix about industrial design. And there was this designer that says there's no reason to design an uncomfortable chair. Like, at this point, we know what a comfortable chair is. There's zero reason to mass manufacture an uncomfortable chair. And there's zero reason to send a bad email. There's zero reason to not send a polished proposal. There's zero reason not have a beautiful website with the AI tools now. So use them to elevate the trust. But all of these things are trusting you as a human. They are just these lights, floodlights on you, to make you shine, to make you appear bigger, brighter in the market, so you can build that trust, and then you earn that trust by producing, really great outcomes, and by giving really great emotional support and trust to your clients and the people that you lead.
Beautiful. What a great riff. I love this conversation, Lior, and I love I love eating my vegetables with you every day. So in our next episode, we're going to talk about asking better questions as a fractional CTO. And I always love your questions. So I'm looking forward to this one.
Looking forward to it too. See you next time.
See ya. That wraps up another episode of the CTOX podcast. We hope today's conversation gave you the tools and inspiration to advance your journey as a fractional CTO.
And don't forget, if you want more in-depth support or to connect with our community of fellow fractional CTOs, visit us at ctox.com.
Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time on the CTOX podcast.